Hey everyone, so welcome back to the fourth take, and today I'm gonna be reviewing Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, I actually managed to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was a 4-hour monstrosity, and I'm telling you, it's quite a journey, From setting it up and actually finishing the movie, it took hours, more than 4 hours for sure. Because I've got a couple talking points here. It was quite difficult to set up. HBO Go, the streaming service in Asia, had server issues. Probably because there were so many people watching this movie. So Warner Bros. They're suffering from success. And yeah, there were server issues for hours. I couldn't watch it for like 2-3 hours, and it was finally resolved. And when I can actually watch the film on my TV, the resolution, I can't change the resolution. Like it adapts to my internet and they adjust it accordingly. So I switched to my laptop. Then in my laptop, the resolution, same thing, the resolution and the volume was too low, and my earphone break, and yeah, it was just a compilation of technical issues on my side and their side as well. So I finally watched it on my phone, and what do you know, my earphone worked in my phone. So yeah, probably I should tell you guys a couple of basic things about Zack Snyder's Justice League. For instance, the film was set in 4 parts, but they multiple parts, 5 parts if I'm not wrong, and they combined it into one single movie. They initially planned to release it in episodes, but that wouldn't work at all, in my opinion. And as everybody knows, the film, yes, is around 4 hours, 3 hours and 52 minutes if I'm not wrong. And there are tons of cameos from other DC characters that, if you're a DC and a comic fan in general, you will enjoy. Its film, it was shown in a 4:3 ratio, and more on that later, but I hate that thing. Alright, so yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna split this review into 2 sections. First of all, the pros, and then the cons, the positives and the negatives. So without further ado, let's go to the positives. There are lots of positives in this film, lots of positives. You can see right here, there are tons of positive notes that I have written down. Justice League is an epic movie. It's a goddamn epic movie with epic scenes, awesome set pieces, big battles, multiple big battles, not just one, but probably like 2, 3 and more. And although some of these big battles are present in the theatrical version, it was expanded upon and it was more thoroughly explained. The build-up was better, and it's a great action film. Yeah, there are so many awesome team-up moments between the Justice League, whereas in the theatrical version, you don't really feel them as a squad. You can feel in this film that the Justice League is a squad of superheroes and their friends. Like, there's actual build-up towards their relationship, and you can see that they team up not only in fights, but even off battles as well, through their normal character interactions. And you don't feel these things in the theatrical version of Justice League. What would probably please most of the DC fans, or even movie fans in general, is that I'd say most of the shitty scenes from the theatrical version of Justice League, I'm just gonna call it Justice League from now on, alright? Most of the shitty scenes from Justice League is gone. And thank you for that. Fuck Superman's lip. In my opinion alone, Superman's lips, like, deducted 5 points from the film because of how distracting, shitty, unprofessional it was, and it's gone. So And then there's no more awkward scenes like, do you bleed? It was like honestly one of the worst movie moments I've watched, the do you bleed scene. And yeah, you know, Justice League was a great disappointment. It was an embarrassment, and those things are gone, thankfully. So immediately you know that this version of Justice League is way better than Justice League, because Joss Whedon's version, it just doesn't flow naturally, you know. It doesn't, the tone was on and off, the pacing was off, there was no build up, it feels forced, cringy, and yeah. Due to the there are less jump cuts, so scenes are able to breathe more naturally, so the pacing was way better. But if you can't even nail the pacing on a 4-hour movie, then fuck you, right? They got this right, you know, they got this right. And scenes are allowed to breathe, and there are more build up towards every single thing in this film. There are more character development. The scenes, the action scenes are explained way better, and you just feel more emotion, more sympathy, more empathy for the characters, particularly Cyborg. They're able to make the film filled with hope and brighten the mood without inserting unnecessary, forced, cringy, awkward jokes. Like the brunch joke from Flash when Batman recruited him. Yeah, that doesn't land. And they're able to do this from normal character interactions, you know, just the Justice League playing off of each other and just interacting with each other, being nice to one another, you know? Being able to see the characters playing off of from one another in with their chemistry as well is one of the most important things in a superhero team-up movie like this one. It's the main reason Avengers, the first Avenger, is how campy it was able to succeed, because you see the characters had chemistry, the casting was perfect. And in this film, in this aspect alone, you feel way more chemistry between the characters. Some scenes are genuinely funny, and I don't think they were trying to be funny, but they were, you know, quite funny, and that's good, you know, other than compared to the Justice League, in which they just force jokes on you. Meanwhile, this universe that Zack Snyder has created was known to be gloomy, moody, dark, and Joss Whedon just came in trying to force his way. And you can just see Joss Whedon scenes, Zack Snyder scenes in the theatrical version. And in this version, you see one continuity that is able to flow naturally, and the tone was consistent. And I think that's really important, because you can't just create a superhero comedy in Joss Whedon's version while you have these draped colors, these dark colors, this dark theme of a story. It just doesn't work. There are tons of fan service, cameos. You know, there are actually some little character moments that I didn't notice because I'm not like too delved into the DC universe. I'm a fan of DC. I play their games and watched and read some comics, watched some films, but I'm not like the expert at DC. And some of my friends are, a friend of mine is actually able to point out, oh, this character's from this one and this one. And yeah, you know, there are tons of cameos, fan service. If you're a DC fan, whoo, you will love this film. You will think this film is really, really, really good if you're a DC fan. And I'm a DC fan, so I think this film is really good. But it's not like really, really good, but it's really good. As I've said before, due to the time constraints in Justice League, they were unable to explain several plot points, and they just skim things over. It's like, okay, we're gonna attack Steppenwolf, and we do this, and boom, and they just do it, and it doesn't make sense, right? There are so many plot points that doesn't make sense, and it felt way too rushed. And you can see that from Justice League that Justice League isn't meant to be just a 2-hour film. It's meant to be more, you know. It's meant to be like this long, 4 hours. Yeah, they're able to explain more events naturally through the build-up, and you feel because of the build-up, you feel the stakes of the actual fights, and yeah, that alone is a very crucial point in my opinion, and props to Zack Snyder, you know? This is his film after all. As I've said before, way more consistent tone, no Frankenstein bullshit from Justice League. Honestly, that film was very disappointing. Like, you get out of Justice League and you just feel anger. You don't feel disappointed, you feel like you're angry. And there are only a handful of movies that made me feel angry, like Age of Extinction, Transformers. I'm a huge Transformers fan, and Justice League. A really important point as well is Steppenwolf as a whole character was way improved. He was given more depth, he was more menacing, his voice, he was given more personality, he talks more than in Justice League. We were shown his backstory, and there was actually a pretty convincing motivation for him to come in and take these mother boxes and try to rule Earth, essentially. So a good villain is essential. I don't really think it's essential in a superhero movie. Marvel has proven that. But Steppenwolf, this Steppenwolf is a Chad, alright? The Steppenwolf in Justice League, he was a fucking cuck, and he sucks balls. So yeah, night and day on this department. His attacks are more cool. Like, you in Justice League, he just comes in, take these things, and you just feel, what the fuck, he's OP. And then finally Superman comes and just destroys him, and like, you know, what the fuck? Because in Justice League, they market the film as, you can't save the world alone. Well, fuck that. Except if you're Superman, he just comes and fucks Steppenwolf. In this film, you can actually feel like the purpose of each Justice League member. You can thoroughly feel the purpose of each character. They're all important. Like, Batman in Justice League was such a weakling, such a pussy. But in this film, obviously, he's not gonna be as powerful because he's a human, but he's way more useful. And, you know, Justice League has managed to fuck one of the brighter spots in DCEU, which is Ben Affleck's Batman. And this film restored him, you know, he was done justice as all of the other characters in this film. Wonder Woman was done justice, Cyborg was done lots of justice, Flash was done justice, Aquaman doesn't look more of an asshole, he's actually quite good, you know, he's actually quite good. And Superman, oh my god, Superman was like such a Chad. Like, this film is able to show so many intimate moments with Clark Kent, and we're able to feel for him more than in any past films, probably other than Man of Steel. And, you know, it's a huge reason because we're able to see Clark Kent, we're able to see, oh, that he's meant for hope, that he's a guy that's supposed to lead by example to the humans. He's one of them, lead them, love them like we love the parents of Superman loved. Oh my god, it was awesome. It was awesome. Superman was fucking awesome. Yeah, this film is much more menacing and it carries more weight, probably because it's likely gonna be the last film in the Snyderverse and the last film in which Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill is gonna star in. Yeah, I know Ben Affleck is gonna be in the Flash film, but yeah, it just carries more weight, you know. And throughout key parts of the film, you feel genuine threat. Again, it's all due to the pacing, due to the build-up, and also because Steppenwolf as a villain is improved in all aspects. So if you have like good build up, and you have this time a properly badass villain, you mesh them together, and you feel a genuine feeling of threat. And there's not many genuine feelings of threat that I've felt before in superhero films. It made me remember about Infinity War and how awesome it was as an opening. You know, when Thanos attacked the ship. I forgot the name of the ship. Is it the Tranquility or the Sanctuary or whatever? Yeah, it was an awesome scene, and you can feel this one, especially during part one. Part one of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Oh my god, it was really fucking good. Yeah, Infinity War was hands down, in my opinion, the best comic book film opening of all time. It was really awesome. Yeah, so there's great character development. You got genuine and personal, intimate feelings between the characters. They play off of one another. When they were meant to crack jokes, it was actually funny. It doesn't feel forced. Sometimes, audiences can feel if it's forced or not. And in this film, it's not. And that's only natural. You're gonna see some forced things here and there in the original Justice League because it's a film that was meant to be like this by Zack Snyder, but then Joss Whedon come in with a totally different perspective on how he views superhero films, and he just changes shit up. It was reportedly that Joss Whedon only used like 10% or some shitty amount of Zack Snyder's original footage. So yeah, it's gonna be way better than that one. And all the heroes are awesome. No more character assassination, as I've said. Especially Pussy Batman in Justice League. And yeah, my final point, guys, of the positives is fucking Darkseid. Whew. So, moving on to the cons. And there are cons in this film, but not as much as the positives. There are a plethora of positives, but not as much as the cons. The cons aren't as much. This film is a 4-hour film, and you can feel dragged out because it is 4 hours after all. Because sometimes in this film, it's not a perfect film, mind you. It's not like a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. It's not a 9 out of 10. I don't think so. Because part of the challenge of movie making, I feel, is how are you able to create an interesting story given the theatrical time limit, under 3 hours or something like that. There's no way in hell that Justice League is able to survive in theatrical releases, this version, Zack Snyder's version, because you can't really split it into two films, because then you just lose some of the much needed weight, and you can't make it a one release either, because then you're going to be cutting important character scenes and build up. So it probably shouldn't be a 3-hour 50-minute film. I feel like they can cut it down even more. But then again, I just, fuck it. I just want to see as many DC content as possible, since DCEU is in their last legs. Zack Snyder doesn't exactly care about compressing this film at all, right? He's just going all out, since, he's just gonna let scenes play out, and you know what? I'll take that over Justice League. Some sections of the film are exposition dumps. And if you're a casual moviegoer and not familiar with some of these things, sometimes they can confuse you, sometimes they can bore you, and sometimes they can be boring, especially if you're not too invested in DC or comic books in general, or not a nerd in general. So yeah, sometimes the explanations are a little too long, but it's good because it gives us more explanation about what's going down in the film, and yeah, it makes us or the audience understand more about the film. But I'm warning you, there's quite some exposition dumps. Also, during action scenes, you guys need to pay attention to the Justice League's plan of attacks. Because sometimes, even in this 4-hour film, sometimes there's too many plot devices being handled in a short amount of time. Such as the final battle, like, I don't exactly get what's happening. I get the general thing of it, but I don't really get, like, the nitty-gritty details about how it went down. So yeah, this has been a problem in the DCU, so many plot devices being handled. It's a problem from before. Also, due to WB's shitty planning of the DCEU, sometimes the characters don't carry the necessary amount of weight they're supposed to. DC fans might care, and they might feel more sympathy or strong feelings towards the character because they know the backstory. They saw this hero since their childhood and they love them. But for casual moviegoers, not as much. They've done everything they could in this film, but there's still not enough amount of emotion from audiences to the characters. Because then again, this film was way rushed. Like, Marvel released like 5 films before Avengers. 5 films that correlate with what's gonna go down in Avengers. Meanwhile, DC it's like Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League. So obviously you're not gonna be able to properly and thoroughly explain the backstory of every character, and you don't have the necessary amount of emotions. But this film has done to the best of its ability, given the amount of the planning that it has to work with. WB, man, stop trying to chase Marvel, man. Just do your own thing. The CGI, I feel, is not that good. In some scenes you can feel like, oh, the CGI is quite good, especially Steppenwolf scenes. Damn, it's like quite good. But a lot of the time, probably 60%, 80% of the time, you can, shit, that's CGI. Shit, that's CGI. You can see through it, because I don't know, like, the quality seems different between Marvel and DC CGI. Even though they're using the same animation company, which is Industrial Light and Magic, but it's different, There's like that glow, that soft blur. I don't know, the CGI just doesn't look quite right since Man of Steel, basically. It feels, it's quite blasphemous to say this, but it feels like a PlayStation 3 cutscene. I'm convinced that Killzone Shadowfall has like the same amount of graphical fidelity as this Zack Snyder's Justice League. Also, what I don't dig is the 4:3 ratio. I get that the film, you're supposed to show more. That's why they make it, in theory, you can show more. But guys, if you increase the vertical aspect, then the film's gonna shrink in your TV. So you're gonna have to squint and see things even more, unless you have like a really big TV. You're gonna have to squint, and fuck, especially I'm using my phone. But yeah, 4:3. If you're watching it on TV, doesn't feel that good. If you watch it on your home cinema, it's gonna feel good. It's gonna feel good. And yeah, you know, that's it for Justice League in terms of pros and cons. I'm gonna give you guys a conclusion. If you're a casual, should you watch this? If you're interested in seeing an epic superhero film, fuck yes, you should watch this. This film is awesome. If you're a DC fan or a comic fan, should you watch this? Fuck yes, even more fuck yes, because this film is a really epic fan service. It's Zack Snyder's gift, Valentine's gift for nerds, because of how awesome it was. So you should watch this. I don't think you should grind it from like 1 hour to 4 hours, just sitting there, not doing anything else. If you're a casual, chill out. Just take a break between parts and do it while you're eating or anything. Don't really take this film like that seriously, but because this film is so long, otherwise you're gonna get worn down. Yeah, you have to watch this. This film is fucking awesome, and this film, Justice League, was like a 3 out of 10 for me. Like the worst DCEU film, literally, in my opinion. And this film is probably the second or the best out of the DCU. So yeah, the improvement is that big. With that many improvements, I'm gonna give you a final score. The final score of Justice League, Zack Snyder's version, as a DC fan, I feel it's an 8.5 or a 9 as a DC fan. As a movie-going fan, it's probably around 7.5 to an 8. It doesn't really exceed my expectations, but I have high expectations. I have quite some expectations. So I'm gonna give it around an 8.5 out of 10, or an 8 out of 10, or an 8.25 out of 10 to reconciliate. So yeah, this is my review for Justice League, and go fucking watch it. It's worth the subscription price alone, and there are lots of films that you can enjoy in HBO Max or HBO Go. So go ahead and watch this film. Enjoy it with your family. Take some time off, chill between sections, and I'll see you guys on the next. I'm starting to sound like Angry Joe. I'll see you guys next week, and yeah, bye bye. Love you guys, and thank you. Yeah, the Doom was kind of lit, right?